Welcome to the He Said,
She Said,
We Said podcast. Today we're talking about what are we as parents doing that's turning our kids off, that's pushing them away and not getting them to want to talk to us. Life is busy. We're on the go all the time. There's more electronics than ever. We're working on 3 or 4 or 5 computer screens at one time. Our brain is like, we're constantly working 24 hours a day. There's no longer the 8-hour workday for so many people. Work is coming home with them.
Yes.
And now it's just busier than ever. And that reminds me of when we first got together. Mm-hmm. You were like, well, I can't wait for us to be married. We'll be able to have dinner every day at 5:30. And I was like, oh, this is the Cleavers family, right? Because my day starts like at 1 and I work till whenever we're done. So sometimes I'm not getting home till 9:30, 10 o'clock. And you were sort of devastated that we weren't going to have dinner every day together. And I think
that was a really big adjustment for us.
Well, you grew up in a house where that was that, and I didn't. I mean, we had dinner together on the weekends, but during the week, my dad was a traveling salesman. I played baseball. My sister played softball. Most of the times we were eating PB&Js or getting a hot dog at the field.
Yep.
So I think today we don't have, not all families have that time where you sit down every single day and have dinner. When we did have dinner together on the weekends, we had conversation about how your week was. My parents were asking questions. They were genuinely wanting to know where we were at in life and what we were thinking.
Right.
And I know for you had some of the same thing.
Right. Well, yeah, we used to have dinner every night. So there was, conversations all the time.
So tell me, with this busy life, with us not having dinner and having that social time, kids aren't talking to us as much as they used to. Mm-hmm. How are we turning our kids away from us?
Well, I think that a lot of the times we're giving adult solutions to kid problems.
Okay, so what does that mean? Like, that sounds so easy, but I'm confused.
Like, Mom, my friend and I are having an argument and, she doesn't see it my way. So I'm like, well, why don't you just sit down and talk about it? Mm-hmm. Well, that's not easy for a teen. They're so worried about what they say and whether it's going to come out right or whether their friend's going to like it or not. So it makes it difficult when we tell our kids in such a simple way, well, why don't we just talk about it, when they're not used to being able to sit down and talk something through, especially with teenagers their own age.
I mean, I think that's something we said in another podcast, is they're not taught at an early age how to carry on a conversation.
Yep.
So we're telling them, hey, go do this thing, go talk to your friends and talk it out. But we as parents never equipped them to be able to talk it out. I think another thing that really turns kids away is we trivialize problems, right? And what I mean by that is, Dad, I got this thing going on in life. And we're like, oh, that's it? Just do this, right? Well, we have to remember all problems are big problems to the person going through the problem. Me as the outsider, it's not a big problem because I've dealt with that. If I look at a friend who's never owned a business and I'm like, this is the decision I have to make, he's like, oh my gosh. Oh, how do you even deal with that kind of stress? But when I look at my mentor and go, I got this decision I have to make, he's like, and that's it, right? Because he's already made those decisions. He's been through that point of life. And I think for so many times, we make our kids feel like their problems are so small that they will no longer come to us because we make them feel small.
That's true. That's so true. Another problem that I think that we have is that all of us, both our children and ourselves, are always connected to something. Laptops, our phones, so that was a big problem in our relationship, that I kind of felt like I was always having a conversation
with my cheek. Yes. You're absolutely right. I mean, I specifically remember the day that I was on my phone and one of our kids were talking to me and my brain said, they're trying to create a conversation. And my other part of my brain says, yes, but you're in the middle of this thing. You got to get it done. And I stopped for a minute and says, let me ask you a question. Can you give me 5 minutes, or is this something I need to stop right now and listen to you? Because if it's something I need to stop, I'll stop. But if I can finish this, I'd like to finish this. And then we can sit down and I can give you all the time that you deserve because this project will be done.
Yes. And then we also have to remember to come back to have, or to finish that, or start or finish that conversation.
Oh, yeah. You know, I know where you're going with this. You're absolutely right. Here's the issue. A parent 5 minute. Because our kids come to us and we go, oh, yeah. In 5 minutes, we'll talk about that. And that was at 4. And now it's 10:30 and we're tucking them into bed. And they're saying, but Mom, you said we were going to talk about this thing, or Dad, we're going to talk about this thing. And we're like, but it's bedtime now. Right? And so we always push the kids off and we never remember to come back to them. So now they don't feel important. They don't feel like their problems are important. And now they stop coming to us. And I think as kids get older, they're going to talk to us less if they feel like they're not important and if they feel like they're not being heard. And if we're not genuine, because I mean, how many times has any parent been in the kitchen and their kids are like, but our brain is hearing Charlie Brown's teacher, right?
Wah, wah, wah,
right.
wah.
And then we go, yeah, wow. And they're like, you just said wow to me getting tripped and scraping my face on concrete, Mom. You weren't even listening, right?
Yes.
So I think the scary thing is, as parents, we have to realize this one thing. If we don't take the time to listen to our kids now, as they get older, they're going to take that same conversation to somebody else. And it's a scary world out there.
It is.
We don't know who they're going to take that conversation to. So I think as parents, the most important thing to remember is don't turn your kids away from you by trivializing their problems, by making them feel not important, by giving them solutions that they can't do because we haven't equipped them with the tools. We got to give them the kid answers, the answers that we know they can use, right? Or guide them to the answers so they come up with the answers that they think they can use. Mm-hmm. We've got to get off our tablets and our phones, stop just listening to them in the background and nodding, and give them the full attention they deserve. I think the thing we have to remember is we get one shot at parenting. If our children don't feel like they have our attention and that they can talk to us about anything, at some point they'll start taking that conversation to somebody else. Mm-hmm. And we don't know if that's somebody that we can trust or not. Hey guys, thanks for being part of it. I heard it.
Sorry.
Last time. Hey guys, thanks for being part of today's podcast. I truly hope you got something out of today's message. I know you probably know somebody that needs today's message. Please make sure you share that with them so that we can help empower more and more people to be the best parents possible.